You have any problems out there in Brazil shooting?
My biggest problem ever was Colombia. But Colombia was a huge thing where I'm in the car speeding to the airport, trying to book a flight out, throwing the phone out the window because I'm trying not to get followed. And
What happened?
So I'm in Bogota, I'm shooting, I'm trying to finish a production. I have like 3 scenes to do to finish my agreement for the amount of scenes I was coming back with. So this is the last night, I leave in the morning, but I have plenty of talent. So I'm shooting, and at first we take stills. So I'm taking stills, and the girl I'm shooting goes, I don't want to take any more photos. I want to make picture. And I go, well, I have to turn in a certain number of pictures. So she gives me a little more leeway, and I take a few more, but nowhere near what I need. And I'm like, and she walks off and goes, I just want the money. And I go, why? I can't pay you for the money. You got to make the movie. She goes, I want to get paid. I worked. I go, no, this isn't how this works. So I go, you know what? I think I said, I'll give you something, but we just not shoot. And she goes, no. Somehow I convinced her to be okay with that. So she's in another room packing. It's a loft like this. So as I say, who's next? So I start shooting this other girl, and she's in the back yelling, making noise, slamming shit, cussing, kicking stuff, and I hear her, she's angry. So as I'm shooting, I take a couple of stills, and I go take a light down, and I go put it away. And I know it's getting ready time to go, but I start like I always keep my gear in one corner, but I'm starting to like tear things down. I'm looking at, it's extension cord, I'm putting that away. I take a few more pics. She's riling up the other girls. She's getting, causing some problems. So I pay her, and she goes, no, this isn't enough. I want all my money. I go, listen, I have to take all the stills, and then we can make the movie. That's just how it works. She's like, no, I'm trying to leave.
How old is she?
23, 25, something like that. But she's a badass. So I'm trying to leave. So I'm packed up now, and I'm like, hey, I'm going to leave. The guy who I'm renting the place for him doesn't want me to leave. He's like, no, you can't leave. And I'm like, oh, I'm going to leave. So I have a bag that weighs, my backpack, I don't know, it's like 40 pounds, 50 pounds. It's on my back. I have another 2 other bags. I'm trying to get all this shit downstairs. He's at the door. The girls aren't letting me leave, or that particular girl is in the front of the line not letting me leave. So I pick up a plant pot, and I act like I'm gonna throw it towards the door. I act at the door, so they all move, and I throw it, and it lands, it hits the ground before their feet, and it busts, and pieces go everywhere, and they scream, and it's like this big deal. And at that point, I'm like, open the fucking door. The dude opens the door. I'm hailing for a cab. They're picking up other plant pots and throwing it at me as I'm like trying to dip off, and I'm just like halfway down the street. It's almost like a freeway in front of us. I get in the cab, but the owner is calling me now on the phone, and he goes, hey, the police want to talk to you. You need to come back right away. I'm like, okay, not a problem. Where you guys at? The studio? Sure. And I'm definitely not going to the fucking studio.
Hold on. Let it be known that you do not want to get taken away by the Colombian police, because so anything can happen.
So that night I go to the airport. It's like, it's like 1:30 in the morning, and I'm sitting facing this big, huge window at the airport, looking out at the terminal, at the tarmac. So I'm wearing a hat. I have the brim low, and I'm looking in the reflection, and I can see anybody, but I'm low, and I'm just trying to wait. So they couldn't give me a flight that night. I missed it by 10, 15 minutes. And it was just random. I was just going to go to the airport anyway to stay. No one's going to look for me at the airport, in my mind. That night, I flew out that next morning. So I lay in the cut. Next morning, I catch a bird, fly back. And when I get on that fucking plane, I'm still waiting for somebody to come up to me, or I run my passport, and they're like, oh, could we talk to you for a minute? I'm waiting. I'm nervous as fuck. But I get on that plane, and they're going to tell me some assault charge or whatever they're going to tell me. And I was really going to I would have bashed everybody's head to get out of that place. I would have just, everyone would have went down. In hindsight, he goes, yo, you should have just gave him the money. And I go, yeah, maybe you're right. But I didn't. And I don't like being extorted.
Yeah,
and it was a principle